Welcome to ETBFSI.com by the Economic Times. This is Srishti Sharma, and today we have with us Mr. Dipesh Shah, Executive Director at IFSCA, International Financial Services Centers Authority. Welcome to the conversation, Mr. Shah.
Thank you.
I'd like to start with your role as a regulator. But before you stepped into the shoes of a regulator, you spent great deal of years with GIFT City since 2008 till 2021. So first, I'd like to understand how have you seen GIFT City evolve, and from the shoes of a regulator, how do you see it today? It's under great buzz, and the traction we are seeing is immense. So help us understand that in the first place.
So I'm sure you are aware that GIFT City started with a problem statement. The problem statement was that for doing India business, why people have to go out? If I have to do India international business, people were going to Dubai, Singapore, Mauritius, London. And the problem statement for GIFT at that time, which the Honorable Prime Minister, when he was the Chief Minister of the state, through his visit to Singapore and others, he discovered that a lot of Indians have moved out to do India business. And when they were asked why they were all outside, normally the feedback was because of the foreign exchange law and tax laws. Most of the people prefer to be outside to do India international business. Now, that was a problem statement with which GIFT got conceptualized, that can we do something to create an ecosystem within India which can give them an offshore status and still be in India. With that, I think the 2007, 2008 was a formative years where this concept was getting more fine-tuned in terms of what can be done. So what came out in the initial days was, can we create a smart city and create the International Financial Center as a heart of that? And with that, 2008 to 2015, I would say, was the years where the master planning of GIFT, how should it benchmark with the other cities, like say, for example, Tokyo, London, and many other examples that we saw. Those were more in terms of planning the city with the best practices outside. And 2015 onwards, we have seen the government really made a lot of efforts to operationalize the financial center at GIFT. So I would divide my journey into three parts. Obviously, the first part was the concept planning. The second part was the implementation, which was challenging. And third phase, which is running now, is that how fast we can achieve more. So I think all this journey that I've seen in my last 15, 17 years in GIFT is that it started with a disbelief. It got a belief from some of the players. And now it is getting more and more excitement from foreign and international and Indian players all put together, saying, whatever we can do outside, why can't we do it from GIFT?
Understood. Now, from the standpoint of a regulator, what are your priorities? What are your key priorities for GIFT City today?
I think as a regulator, the city got started with obviously the four domestic regulators supporting this financial center between 2015 to 19. The government really took a really big step forward by creating a unified regulator into GIFT as an international financial services center authority. I would put that as a big step forward for the implementation and the success of the financial center. But since then, I think if you really see how the IFFC as a regulator is emerging, it got dual mandate. It got a development and the regulation both as a mandate. Now, rarely you will find a regulator having a development mandate part of the regulation. And this was, I think, very important. Those who created the IFFC Authority Act would have visualized this, that look, you can't just create regulations. You need to develop the market ecosystem also. And for us, I think 2019 or 2020, when we got the powers, till 2025, it was more to develop the zone and thereby create the regulation which helps in the development of the financial center more efficiently.
Got it. If I move on to the next part of this discussion, a lot of BFSI companies specifically are seen going and setting up their operational units in the GIFT City. When we speak to them, we get to know even if they're raising funds, they're doing it through their GIFT City units.
Yes.
what is the leverage that they are making over there from such units? And more so, out of all the BFSI companies, where do you see the most traction, and help us understand that?
Yeah, very important question. See, what we have seen is almost now 1,000 registrations in GIFT, and out of that, 300 are the funds that we have registered. Now, to your question, that what is the advantage or what is the leverage that they are getting? For example, if I wanted the global investors to invest into India, people will go to Mauritius and create a entity there to invest into India. Now, the problem here was that you are actually, it's an India business, you are shifting outside, and then you are creating jobs outside. So for us, the advantage is that you are creating structures in GIFT and you are creating jobs also in GIFT. So if you really see from an advantage perspective, one, you are operating on the Indian time zone, so it's the same time zone. Two, the cost of operations is rupees versus dollar, which means that my rentals outside is just 1/10 of what I'm paying outside. So cost of operation is very, very competitive. Third, I get the same tax competitive advantage, and in fact, in some areas, better tax regime that we have in GIFT versus outside. And fourth, which is the most important, is that I can work with the Indian talent here. I don't have to transfer people from India to outside, which is almost 40% the cost to transfer people from India to outside. So all this put together, I think everybody is, asking themselves as to why I need a structure outside. Why can't I do it from GIFT now?
Got it, understood. We're at GFF today, and a lot of fintechs are also seen moving to Gift City. What kind of fintechs are coming over there, and what kind of solutions are they bringing?
No, I think the fintech is a very important area for us. I would put it. That and sustainable finance, most important areas for us where we are working on. Fintech advantage is that the GIFT provides them a unified regulator, which means the fintech coming into GIFT can experiment from a banking, securities, insurance, pension, all in one. It is not going to different regulators to innovate. It is in one sandbox, but it is experimenting for all the segments. Second, I think for them, it's two ways. One is that we are building an inbound gateway, which means capital coming into India. How do I help capital come into India? For example, if an NRI wants to invest into GIFT, how do I help the remittance to come into GIFT more efficiently? So we are seeing fintech coming to solve the payment solutions, payment services, and they are really creating innovative solutions for transfer of money from outside into GIFT.
Okay.
And some of them have claiming to reduce the cost as far as 80% of transfer of remittance from outside into India or through GIFT into India. So this type of, I think, fintechs are the one which have flourished a lot. In our fintech, we have 50 plus firms. Almost 17 firms have come from different jurisdictions outside of India. So there are overseas fintech coming to GIFT to provide solutions to India. And we have seen Indian fintech also coming into GIFT to innovate for outside. So both ways.
Are there any targets set on for Gift City in terms of the number of fintechs that it would want to be operating from Gift City, or do you have any plans on certain kind of, attracting certain kind of sectors to Gift City?
So I think for us, see, in India, as you know, numbers are, it can be n number of things, because number is not a problem for India. What we should focus is how do we create a right environment, and how do we create a facilitative environment so that they feel more inclined towards setting up their operations in India in GIFT rather than going outside. For example, today in India we have more than 100,000 startups in India. So numbers are not challenging. It is about giving them the right platforms to operate.
Got it. Understood. If I move on to the next part of this conversation, Honorable Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman just today mentioned about how Gift City is now well placed alongside Hong Kong, London. Just today that we saw the launch of foreign currency settlement system. How satisfied are you with the growth of Gift City when you see it from, both when you worked with Gift City and now that you're regulating it? How satisfied you are today, and what kind of potential do you see for Gift City?
I think the potential is huge. That's what I'm seeing, because we are riding on the India growth story, and the India growth story is remarkable. In terms of sheer size and the requirements of financing that India needs for next 20-25 years. A gift just to solve the hinterland into India is a big advantage.
Right.
Many of the financial center outside don't have this advantage. Like for example, Singapore don't have a very thriving domestic economy, or for example, Mauritius don't have a very large domestic economy. But in GIFT, we have an advantage. We have a large hinterland Indian economy to serve, which is a huge advantage on which we are riding right now. But as you rightly asked, are we satisfied in terms of where we are? Answer is mixed. Satisfied from the perspective that we started believing that we can do it. When we started GIFT, the problem statement was our own people were doubting that this type of things cannot be created in India. So that disbelief has now been converted into a belief. But I think in that journey of almost 10-15 years, probably somewhere we do feel that we could have achieved where we are much faster if large number of people would have thought the same way, that yes, we can create structure in India and still do business more efficiently. Unfortunately, they believe that they can do things better when they go out for India. But that is now changing, and that's why you saw in last 5 years, we had 94 registrations before we took over as a regulator, and we have now 1030 plus registrations. So in last 5 years, you've given almost 1000 registrations in that zone, which is a testimony that people have started believing that I can create structures to GIFT for India.
On another note, do these geopolitical tensions like tariffs from US, does that worry you in any way? Does that have an impact on you in any way? Do you have any mitigation plans or measures aligned?
I think it's a breakfast talking point for everybody. Every morning when you wake up with a talking point saying that what happened on tariff.
Correct.
I don't think it is beyond that. What the Indian economy presents is a very resilient and an opportunity that everybody looks forward to. I don't think we will have a larger impact as far as I am concerned. From my perspective, I don't see we'll have a larger impact because the Indian economy is very resilient with almost 7% growth expected for next 25 years, which is the global economy which can raise their hand to saying that, look, I will grow 7% plus for next 25 years. There's none. So that way, I think we are isolated from the overall, issues of the global issues. But being a global, connected economy,
right,
we will have some sorts of, the roadblocks here and there. But riding on the India growth story, I think we feel more confident.
Mr. Shah, I understand the optimism about the India growth story that you mentioned about the roadblocks. What could those roadblocks be, if at all? God forbid, but if at all these tensions materialize into reality, what could be those roadblocks?
I think, because you are globally connected and the financial center which we operate is going to be more globally connected rather than just operating for the domestic businesses. So, for example,
right,
if I would have, in last financial year itself, 50% of the registrations were for foreign firms into GIFT. Now, suddenly the global firms in their home economy are facing a lot of economic challenges or the political challenges. Then the impact would be they may postpone their expansion plan, and thereby their entry into GIFT may get little delayed. So that could be the one risk that we, run with. But what happens is when some economy get into this type of a problem statement, there are others which are more open. And when you also start focusing on those economy, and you find that there can be a large number of people from this side who can also enter the zone.
Correct. Understood. Over to the next part. What's in pipeline for IFSCA? What innovations are in place to kind of accelerate growth? What are you planning on? Maybe your vision over the next 3 to 5 years?
I think for us, next 3 to 5 years will be important to get little more innovative in terms of the newer areas. For example, a lot of discussions around the tokenization platforms to come in. Now, how do we create an enabling environment for the real world assets to come in? And how do we going to create that framework which is more enabling for them to come in? But I think for us, for next 5 years, if you really see, if we can help India get the capital contribution which it needs uh, for next 5 years through Gift City as a platform, I think we should and probably should feel that we have contributed towards the Indian economy in a better way.
Noted. Understood. To my last question, if you can quickly summarize the challenges that you see for yourself and the opportunities ahead.
I think the challenges is more internal than external. I will say that way. More internal from the perspective that, as I said, our own people's confidence in our own financial center, and probably, for example, BFSI, ET, as you come from, uh, your and other institutions like yours invest in gift over a period of time on last 5 years and now is now seeing in terms of change that look, this is a market which is now developing, and more people like you and the institutions like you come forward and pass on this message to the larger audience. I think the challenges which we are facing now of the confidence of our own people will over a period of time help us to overcome those challenges. And we are very confident that for a financial center, it's not like on a one day you have to do everything. It's a journey which one has to travel to make sure that your growth is in line with the best practices, regulatory best practices globally.
Understood. It was an interesting conversation, Mr. Shah. Thank you for your time. Thanks for watching ETBFSI.com.